What a world. Getting insulted for wanting to find love, respect, and kindness out of a relationship instead of a boss babe who will use you as an ATM with legs, doesn't respect nor love you for being yourself, and just thinks about herself and how you can benefit her. Women need to relearn that relationships are two-way streets. It should be both of you improving one another and making your collective life easier and better. And they should also learn to stick with it when times get tough and not immediately dip. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. When it's the women going overseas for a quick fling with a guy in a bad economic situation and then dipping, there isn't a peep. But when men are going overseas to actually find someone to start a hopefully lasting family, all hell breaks loose. The irony of Western women thinking that being submissive means being a slave, when in fact women in Asia have more power in the household. It is common in single-income households in places like Japan and the Philippines, where the husband works while his paycheck goes to his wife for budgeting for household expenses. He only gets a fraction of his paycheck as an allowance from the household budget. I've heard too many men pursue women and end up wasting so much time that they could have given to someone that really deserved it. Western society has male and female roles all messed up. A Western woman for no good reason believes that staying at being a homemaker, a care provider, and a nurturer for her husband and family, and doing it as a duty to them is somehow her being oppressed. I believe the blame for that goes to feminism or the extreme forms of it which want women to take over men's roles in society. Being feminine, nurturing, and taking care of their husbands and kids is not because they're being manipulated or taken advantage of. That is what women should be. To be feminine and nurturing, taking care of their family while the husband protects, leads, and provides. I just have a message for all the people who are coming here to find a partner. There is just one thing that I want to emphasize. Do not bring your dating habits or culture to the Philippines, because you will be influencing and teaching women here to be women you are running from in the West. All people want to do nowadays is meet up and have meaningless intimacy, and there's no concept of courtship. Hookup culture has become very toxic because hookup culture benefits guys more than it will ever help girls. Guys mainly just want physical intimacy. They rarely want commitment but will do practically anything to get laid. Are we done pretending like that's empowering or even healthy, just like the hookup culture? Eastern dating is gradually changing and becoming more modern, especially in tourist areas and big cities. For your information, their dating culture is traditional, not like in the West where you can go out and date and sleep with different people and have multiple options all the time. It's now common information that Western men are looking for submissive and more feminine women in the East. Is this due to the fact that more and more American women are seeking out stereotypical bad boys to fill the gaps left by American men? Is white women's interest in interracial adult entertainment real, or just a made-up myth? Also, does explicit information mislead men or women in its intended direction? I contend that Western men favor women who are subservient. If my estimation is accurate, however, American women are now drawn to more dominating alpha guys. As women never want to accept or admit their truth on their own, it's always amusing to expose them to it. Now men are traveling to the East in pursuit of attractive women. Moreover, bear in mind that Thailand has very few obese women. Even ladyboys are prettier than Western women. You should now have all the information you require. Women will find such men attractive because even a partially feminized male from the West will likely appear more manly than many Asian men there. It's easy to understand why guys visit these locations when you take into account their financial situation and resources. The reality is that Western men and women are more desirable around the world, not only because of the better economic conditions that they live in, but also because of the color of their skin, which is more desirable in most parts of the globe. From Africa to Southeast Asia and the Middle East, men and women desire Western men and women because white skin is prized above brown or black skin. Is this racist, though? In theory, yes. But you can't blame either side, because part of the reason this is our history, and especially popular culture and media narratives, which have always shown white people to be heroes and people from other cultures, countries, and backgrounds to be villains. This is one of the best examples of how media can brainwash large numbers of populations around the world. It's also important to note that a successful Western woman in her mid-30s might have more value in her country than she would in another. An average-looking woman in her early 20s will have a much higher value in a country like Africa or the Middle East than in her own country where she's only average. It is also true that Eastern women are looking to date Western men. I recently read about Thai women who believe that the more Western guys they date, the greater the likelihood that they will become romantically linked with them, and eventually emigrate to the United States, the United Kingdom, or Canada with them. Strangely enough, when such women travel to a Western nation, they only become aware of the different game that is being played there. When they notice that Western women are not subservient, they often feel pressure from their peers to emulate them, which is why their white Western boyfriends decide to break up with them. Don't let these Western women influence you or discourage you if you want to go overseas and get a good woman. I know a couple of good honest men that were tired of being single and invisible to most women, so they decided to find someone abroad. Now they're happily married, while some of these Chad-dating women are single with kids. The sad thing is they don't realize that their kids growing up fatherless makes a big impact on their life. The truth is that American men are happy in the Philippines and other countries because they can have meaningful relationships without spending so much money. They can simply enjoy exploring the countryside and beautiful beaches together without money being the center of everything. They can immerse in the hospitable locals and try new things. Life is way so less stressful compared to living in the US. So it's no wonder passport bros is a booming trend. Part of the problem at the root of it is that a lot of females in America have become masculine in one way or another. It is actually at the point where we men would rather spend 15 hours on a flight over the Pacific Ocean than deal with all the probabilities that most females in America ensue. All of us men who work for a living just want to be appreciated at the end of the day and nothing more. Apparently, that is too much to ask for in this day and age when most young females in America grew up without a father. A lot of women in the Philippines, especially from the South, are really looking forward to marrying Western men. It doesn't matter whether they are handsome, young, old, senior citizens, rich or poor, as long as they are foreigners. Marrying a foreigner is like winning a trophy that you can parade in your town, which sadly becomes a part of our culture. It's laughable for that woman to say men should find someone on their own economical level. In my entire life, I can count on one hand the number of women I've personally known that was happily married to a man making less than them. They all demand a 6- or 7-figure man while living with their mommy and having to ride the city bus because their McDonald's part-time job doesn't pay enough for them to afford a used car. So yes, Americans should be worried that men from the US are finding women outside of the country, while foreign men aren't coming here for them. And the fact that a man that can afford to travel and meet women abroad is at the bottom of the barrel, and tells me they are more bothered by this than they care to admit, especially when the women complaining about this are objectively a 4 out of 10 at most. Women need to understand that in their most fundamental form, men just want to feel appreciated. That's what they're getting in other countries now. There is now completely zero appreciation for men in the West. Western women believe they are entitled to a certain level of consideration simply because they are female. I can't remember the last time I did something good for a woman, and she thanked me for it. My advice to men has always been to follow their own paths. Either embrace your individuality or learn to fit in where you are needed, or better yet, find love and respect where it's being given. American women need to realize that life's never going to be the same. Men won't submit to them because that's not in their nature. And women can't become men because that's not only not in their nature, but it's also something that will make them even less desirable for men, which is why we are seeing a growing number of passport bros. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.